Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Dinda Rahmadhani Putri and I'm from the S.Pd. So in this occasion, I would like to explain about the phenomena that related to psycholinguistic in our daily life. The first topic is about the street children. So what can be done to help the street children? Furthermore, we can see in the big city, there are so many street children that have to discuss by the millennials. They live in the street and have no parents. They have to survive and grow in the street. So the street children we can find in the sidewalks, public garbage, and also under the bridge. So the street children face with the big problems and grow in the dangerous environments. Based on the data presented from the UNESCO, there are 150 million street children in this world with a bleak future. How about the street children in Indonesia? The number of the street children in Indonesia spread across 21 provinces. So the most of the street children are from the Java Islands, from the West Java, and followed by the DKI Jakarta, and then followed by East Sumatra, and the last is Central Java. And also from the outside Java, the highest is from the North Sumatra, and followed by West Sumatra, and the last is South Sulawesi. So the government should give the more intention to the street children, because the street children have to get their right and get the good education from the government. The next topic is children with the special need. Children with the special need is increasing in Indonesia from year to years. Most of them have not received an education, so the Indonesian government is trying to facilitate the educational needs of the children with the special needs, that holding the special schools that spreads throughout the Indonesia. In connection of this problem, the number of the special schools cannot accommodate children with the special needs anymore. So the government began testing the piloted of inclusive schools, but the implementation there was still obstacles encountered. And the other problems is for the teacher, should face is getting heavier when accept the reality in the field that many of the parents of the children not completely surrender about the development of their children. And the last is children with the special need have the special characteristic and different from the other children. So they need the special treatment also. The next is about the feral child. Feral child is a child or the behavior is not same like the humans, but also we can say it is wild child. The wild child is a very from younger age. They live outside with the animals, and they eat and behavior like the animals. So there is in case in Ukraine in 1991, there was an accident where a human child was raised by animals. According to Julia Fullerton Barton, there are two different scenarios. The first, when these children are stranded in the forest, and the second, when these children are neglected at the home but are completely abandoned and miserable, so they feel more comfortable being among animals than the humans. The name of this case, the girl is named Oksana Malaya. He was 8 years old at the time and lived with them for 6 years. Her parents were drunk and one day left Oksana outside the house. For the seeking warmth, the little girl crawled into the canal on the farm and then snuggled up with the stray dogs, and most likely action saved her life. He ran with his feet and hands strung out his tongue and showing his teeth and barking. because it's almost never related to the humans. The only note that she knows is about yes and no. So the age like the animals, especially dogs. But now Oksana live in a clinic Odessa and working in the animal hospital because she has got a treatment. The next topic is about the sign language. Sign language is the other way to communicate it with the other people because we have the verbal communication and non-verbal communication. So the sign language is include to non-verbal communication. So there is a story about the village in Bali communicated in using language codes. So the village situated in the north of Bali, there is a unique language and very local. And the name of the language is Katakalok. Is a language that was never uttered is orally by the speakers. Why it is signed Katakolok? Because it is interpreted as a language of deaf. It is a system of language because unique that separate from the language because of Indonesia. And also this language have used for several generations, and because the use of this language because of almost of the villagers are deaf, and the total population and the village Benggala that deaf since birth are average for 7 generation. 42 of the nearly 3 residents of Benggala suffer from the deafness since their birth. The high percentage of the patient with disorder of hearing in Benggala because there is a gene recessive are endemic named the M.Pd, which has detected in Benggala the range of 7 generations for many years. So the local residents of hearing loss as a cures. So they use this sign language every day to communicate it. And also the people who not deaf, they also can use this language also to communicate it with the people who deaf. And the next is animal communication. Besides humans, animals can also communicate it with their fellow species. And also the studies involved several institutions in Europe write many examples of animal communication with fellow species. There are African 11 that communicated with the nose and the neck, more rats catering in soft voice. And also when we see the birds create an attractive perfume before melting in the study. Researchers from the animals have a time lag to be able to make their interclutters. Unlike the humans, the time they need is different depending on the species. For the example, some species of the songbirds have a lag time to talk about their opponents for about 60 milliseconds. The time interval for receiving information from birds is relatively fast because there are some species which have not longer time intervals. When compared with the humans, our time lag to settle to other people's chat is around 200 milliseconds. And the next topic is about humans' communication. Humans are social creatures that depend on each other and are interconnected with others in their environment. The only tools that be able to relate to other people, the environment, is communication, both verbal or non-verbal. If you look at the result of the study, it was revealed that as many 65% of the participants claimed that their patient divorce was based on the factor of interpartner communication, which always led to contention. while in the second position, as many as 43% of the participants agreed that the inability of the couples to resolve the conflict was to the cause divorce. The poor result concluded based on the experience of the patient from the experts who were participants. They describe in more detail what caused in the degradation of the communication in household, which is more or less like the following description. 70% of the experts agree that attitude of disrespecting of the with her husband is trigger for the lack communication in the household. From the website, 45% is annoyed to the attitude. Because of that, there are so many housewife and husband because the miscommunication. So we are as the human have to good communication, because communication is is only tool to communicate with the other people. If we have a good communication, so our partner will easily understand what will we say. So that's all the topic that I have found in our daily life. So I have this video. It can be useful for you. And last I say, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.